Welcome to the People's Guild.
Each week we explore the Splinterland universe with guests from all across the mythical land of Praetoria.
Join us on our journey as we discuss the evolution of the game, the strategy, the lore, and the exciting path that lies ahead.
To support the People's Guild, make sure you subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts, and also check us out on PeakD, YouTube, and Twitter.
Send your questions, suggestions, and epic battles in our comments through Twitter or email at thepeoplesguildspl@gmail.com. We'll feature the best in our episodes and maybe airdrop you some prizes.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to the People's Guild. Another week, another episode. Back after a couple of weeks off. Lots to talk about, lots going on. A couple of guest surprise appearances here. We got Fat Jimmy rolling in on the co-host microphone here. Welcome back to the show, Jimmy.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And Azircon, fresh off of a successful surgery, looking good, feeling healthy. Just confirmed off air that all systems go and all lights green. Positive update. Great to hear it. Good to see you back, man. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Let's kick this thing off with a little bit of a spicy proposal. Continue to see some stuff, kind of trickling in on the shard holders, card collectors, tavern. Edits, comments, DHF proposal. As of about 30 minutes ago at the time of this recording, we just saw the first payment come through.
Yes.
The proposal is officially funded. We're across the line. We're sitting right around 35.5 million Hive power backing us, well above the return proposal. Things are looking good. Azircon, why don't you enlighten us a little bit? What's going on with the DHF, man?
Yeah, so, as you guys and everyone else in the community are, by now fairly well aware of, unless you are living under a rock, that, we are trying to get funding from various sources. And one avenue of the funding is the DHF Hive Decentralized Hive Fund. DHF is Decentralized Hive Fund, a proposal that Matt wrote several weeks ago, and it was funded. And basically the way Hive proposal works, it is unlike the Splinterland SPS DAO proposals. The DAO proposals, once funded, are always funded. Hive proposals are not like that. Hive proposals are dynamic. When a proposal, in terms of its cumulative vote, goes above the return proposal, it is funded immediately. And it receives funds as long as the proposal is active. It receives funds every hour, as long as the proposal is active. But if by any reason or chance, if it falls below the return proposal, the funding automatically stops. So that's the main difference between a SPS DAO proposal and a DHF proposal. So as BJ, you were talking about that it just got funded. So that's very good news.
And just for clarification, we missed out on about a month's worth of payments. For those that are unaware, we don't get that month worth of time and the associated payments locked onto the end of our proposal. Instead, we just miss out entirely. So we're still sitting around 150 days, I believe, of
Yes.
payment. I haven't crunched the numbers, but that should be about 90% ish of the total requested funds that we put out in the proposal.
So right now, as I look at the proposal page, we have 149 days left. So each day we get 2,777 HBD, which is $2,777. So that times 149, assuming we stay above return proposal 149 days. That much funding we are going to get. So that's the basics of it.
So for a little clarity, for helping explain how Hive works and everything, how would you define what the return proposal was? I had to do a little, looking it up to see how it worked. Who sets those boundaries? What's just talk about that a little bit.
Right. I'll be happy to. So a return proposal is essentially works as a threshold. That proposal is empty. I mean, there is no funding associated with it. When we set up the DHF after the hard fork from Steam, we created this fund. And there is a lot of misconception about how this fund arrived, what is the source of the fund. So just to backtrack a little bit, and I'll keep it very brief. DHF fund is dynamic in terms of replenishment as well. So just like a lot of other cryptocurrency, Hive is a inflationary currency, right? So there is a inflation associated with Hive. So every 3 seconds, Hive block is created. And each Hive block, about 10% of the Hive that is created goes into the DHF. So each second, DHF funds get replenished. Okay, so there was a beginning fund there, and then there is a replenishment of the DHF that automatically happens at every Hive blocks, and then there are payouts on these different project proposals that they receive funding from the DHF. So the reason the return proposal was created, if you write, any individual can write a proposal, and any other Hive stakeholder can vote a proposal. So you can think about, if you think about, not so nice activities, like let's say Ben and I, we put together a cartel, a dark cartel, and we write a proposal that every month Hive is going to give us, I don't know, $10,000 a month. That'd be pretty
Azircon,
nice.
I got to interject and say I can't believe you're revealing our plans, bro. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, well, let's just get it all out there.
I want in.
So we can write this proposal, and I can vote it. I have 1 million Hive power, like I have 1 million HP. I can vote it, and if there is no other threshold, since there is no manual mechanism in DHF, my proposal will get funded, will receive funding, right? So in order to mitigate that problem, the Hive stakeholder and witnesses together created this threshold, and we have all voted this particular proposal up, and we call it the return proposal. There is a witness named GTG, Gandalf the Grey. He wrote the code for that. And it's extremely simple. The way it works, stakeholders voted it up, somewhere in the vicinity of 28 million Hive to, like, say 30, 34 million Hive. Historically, this is the range the return proposal kind of stays. So any proposal that is below the return proposal will not get funded, and any proposal that is above the return proposal will get funded. So that's the basics of the return proposal.
Can we dive a little bit deeper into the return proposal? I had read somewhere that the return proposal actually receives maybe a surplus of funds for non-funded proposals or something like that, or proposals that don't achieve above the return proposal. And this kind of explains the naming
Yes,
convention of the return proposal. So
right.
the return
So
proposal
it's not just the
receives.
return. It's not just the return. There are two of them. Like if you go to all the proposals listing, you'll see return proposal. And also all the way at the top, you'll see a proposal called HBD stabilizer by Smooth. That's the highest #1 proposal all the way to the top. These two proposals together, they both have slightly different mechanism, but they both act as a conveyor belt, right? So Hive is this two entity coin, right? So one is Hive and one is HBD. HBD is the stable coin that is pegged at $1, and Hive is the floating inflationary coin, right? And the relationship between Hive and HBD is controlled by these two proposals. So as we are generating Hive from inflation, we can also buy Hive using HBD. So Hive and HBD has an internal market, and it is constantly recycling. Like, and you can click on the market. You can take a look at the market on that page that I have forwarded you. You can look at the market, and that internal market has basically infinite liquidity. So what is happening? Hive is getting sold to HBD, and in turn, HBD is getting sold back as Hive. And this is constantly happening and keeping the peg. So that's the mechanism of these two. If you want to read more detail about it, the full diagrammatic mechanics, you can look up at the HBD stabilizer proposal, and Smooth has a whole bunch of articles that explains the logic with diagrams and everything quite nicely. So in
Nice.
short,
Okay.
that's the mechanism of it.
Great. And for those that want to follow along, the interface that you suggested is hivehub.dev/proposals, and it is a bit of a sexier interface. It's a little bit easier to sift through than what's available on PT.
Yeah, it is
Cool.
also our internal market. Like Hive, like if you want to buy HBD, and you can stake it, HBD, you can stake Hive, you can stake HBD, which is called putting it in the savings. So within PIGD, if you look at your wallet, you will see there is a button called savings. Let me check where that button is. So in the wallet, as you go down, you go into HBD, and right at the green arrow where you have the send, there is a button called transfer to savings. So if you push that button, it goes to the next bucket, which is called Hive savings. And so your HBD is staked at that point in time with a 3-day withdrawal period. And you get, somewhere between 15 to 18% return on your staked HBD. So basically your interest.
This is something I've been trying to figure out for a little while too. I have trace amounts in there.
Yes.
When I pull up my keychain, the top number that's in bold is 9.16, but then it says plus 27.5 in savings. So
yes.
I would have to manually put that 9 into savings.
I think you probably, if I can see your screen, I can probably tell you if it is in your savings or not. So in your keychain, there is a savings button. It's a different interface, right? So you click on the green HBD icon, you have send, convert, and savings. So if you click on the savings button, by default, the savings should be black. And in my case, it shows 0.
Gotcha.
And the liquid is on the right which in your case should show something else, right?
Right.
7 HBD or whatever it is. In my case, it shows 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it. If you click on the deposit HBD button, then from one bucket, the liquid bucket, the HBD moves into the savings bucket. So
Gotcha.
it's just a different interface.
And then that's what you earn the interest on.
That's where you earn the interest on.
All right. I'm putting my 9.163 HBD into savings as we speak.
All right. There you go.
Bam.
Bam.
All right.
And you are going to get interest on it automatically. You don't have to look at it at all. And the interest, this 15%. So you are thinking, where is this 15% coming from? This 15% is generally speaking in correlation with the average curation return of the Hive blogging platform. So Hive, Steam before that, started as a blogging platform, right? So, BJ, you know this very well. People's Guild, what's your rep number now? It's pushing 70, I'm sure. So you
70.
guys, you're past 70. There you go.
We're creeping on 71, 70.92.
Okay, so what's your wallet saying? Let me look it up. People's Guild. Hang on, let me see. I should have a shortcut somewhere. I mean, I have it somewhere. See, all our wallets are transparent. That is one thing I really like. I mean, I always check other people's wallet, believe it or not. I'm constantly checking people's wallet. I'm nosy that way. So I'm looking at the People's Guild wallet. So
hey, $10 is $10, man.
Hey, $10 is $10. So look at this. People's Guild started from 0, I believe. Is that right, BJ?
Yep.
So started from 0, Jimmy, and I see 4642 HP.
Whoa.
4,642 HP. Little bit of drops of water creates a big ocean.
So that's all from blogging.
Just from blogging.
It's all the podcast. Yeah.
It's all this podcast that we are creating, and he's going to post in the Hive blockchain and among other places. And over the years, I had to. It's the number in today's Hive is $886. $886 created out of Hive. Over little more than a year, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think we started Hive end of 2022, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. So like 1.5 year, somewhere about. You were pretty quiet in the beginning. You had no coverage in the beginning, and then slowly it picked up. So, and now you are pretty stable. And Hive also goes up and down, right? Sometimes some of your episodes will fetch upward of 100 hives. Sometimes, like when Hive prices were higher, and now it fetches much less because Hive has come down quite a bit. So over the cycle, I'm doing this for, I don't know, 6 years now. I have seen a lot of up and down. I don't really look at the price day to day at all. But that's a very easy way of, adding a little bit of income from what you are already doing.
And what you were saying, and what you just said, I think is a key thing that I believe we're moving towards. And one of the maybe unintended goals of crypto is to stop thinking of things in terms of a specific currency like USD and to start thinking in terms of a one-to-one, whatever you're dealing with. So like one hive it's not 28 cents, it's one hive. One SPS is one SPS regardless of the. That happened to me, I don't know, it might have been 6 months, a year and a half into actually getting into crypto, where one day I realized I was thinking in terms of like, fractions of Bitcoin for something. I wasn't looking at what it equaled, not the value, but it was like, oh wow, 0.1 Bitcoin, was a thing. And it was a shift.
So, yeah, absolutely. So my story is told many times, so I'm not going to say it again. But when I started in 2018, I I I just got frustrated with conventional social media like Facebook and Twitter. I got very frustrated at that time. And I was looking for, something different. And I arrived here. And from 2018 to this is 2024, I have never sold a single hive. I mean, it was Steam back then. I have never sold a single Steam or single hive. I have moved it around. I have bought Splinterland cards with it. I do that quite often because I earn a lot. I earn a lot of hive. And it's the reason I earn a lot of hive, the relationship becomes exponential very quickly, right? So since I have never sold hive and I have bought, when hive prices were like 10 cents and things like that, I have 1 million plus hive. So just from my curation return, just from curation, like the post that I upvote, I generate somewhere from 100 hive to 120 hive every day, just from the curation.
From posting content.
Not from posting, just by voting your content.
Oh, wow.
Engaging.
For engaging.
Yes. I not from posting. If I add the posting, I don't post very frequently. The way I post, and BJ, you are very familiar with my posting habit. I write for myself. Whatever is on my mind, whatever I'm thinking on that day, I just write about it. Like if you look at my latest post, I think I wrote day before yesterday or yesterday. It is titled, "Is it possible for Splinterland investors to invest in Hive? Why?" Happens to be that is what we're talking about right now. So I ask you to go read it. It's a very short post. It is very simplistic. I normally write the way I talk, so it's not flowery. It is full of typo. And, I just write just like I am speaking. Okay. And it for me, it's very therapeutic for me. So it helps me with two things. When I write something, I get it out of my mind, right? It is out there. It is messing around in my brain. It is now out there. So it's like in Harry Potter, Dumbledore waves the wands at top of the head and just put the memory in the pensive, because your mind gets clogged up. And if you put it out there somewhere, you can see patterns that you don't see if it is in your mind sometimes. That's the way I think about it. I write just for myself. Sometimes I write about my travels. I recently went to India, so I wrote a post about my family visit. Recently, I went through a big surgery. I was just telling Jimmy, the surgery I went through. So, I put my X-rays in and my MRI and CT scans there. So, because that's what I was thinking about. And, I know a lot of people in this platform. I've made a lot of friends. So my network of friends is rather big in this platform. And it helps because if somebody finds out, oh, I am going through a surgery, I get like bombarded by Discord messages. How are you doing? Is everything okay? All very nice messages. But I cannot possibly write 100 replies, 100 separate DMs. It's just so much easier to write a post and then everybody knows all at the same time. So that if I have something like that to write, I write it straight away as a blog post. So that's my usage.
As a follow-up there, so I just went to your post. and went to upvote it.
Okay.
It's asking me, you know, as happens, do I, you know, what percentage you wish to upvote
Yeah.
with?
Yeah.
What's that mean? What is it
Right.
asking me there?
Excellent. Very good question. And I will, you know, I am full of this kind of tidbit information. So when you click on the
Okay.
upvote, that upvote panel, that little love's heart sign, right? It gives you a slider bar. It gives you a slider bar from 0 to 100, right?
Yeah.
And at the extreme right, it gives you a number. So in my case, that number right now is 5.08, right? So if I put 100% upvote in a post, it's a 5 hive upvote. So if you want to put like a 50% vote in a post, and you know, you are the curator, you decide how much you want to give this person. You know, if you really like it, you know, you can give a 100% upvote. So my 100% upvote would be 5 hive right now. My 50% upvote would be 2.5 hive. My 10% upvote would be 0.5 hive. So it's you decide how much an upvote you want to give.
And is that like when it says your post has 34.97 hive, is that basically a total of upvotes?
Yes, but here is the very important difference. And since you are asking, Jimmy, I want you to understand that 34.95 hive is the total payout. 34, let's make it 35 for, you know, argument's sake, and you know, easy in talking. 35 hive. 35 hive is the total potential upvote value at payout. Okay? That is not your money yet. That is not my money yet. It is currently in a common reward pool. People are upvoting, people are downvoting. Some people do not like my post. They can downvote it, right? So if somebody downvotes it from 35, it can get lower to say 30. So payout happens in 7 days. On the day 7 at payout, let's say some people upvoted, few people downvoted it. So it got to 30 hive. So 30 hive is the total payout. I am not going to get 30 hive. I am going to get half of that, 50% of that. So I will get 15 hive on the payout day. And the other 15 hive would be distributed, weighted average to all the people who have upvoted me. So if somebody upvoted me with a higher upvote, they will get more payout. If somebody upvoted me with a lower upvote, with a lower stake, they will get a lower payout. So that's the curation return. Every payout has two parts. One part is the author reward. The other part is the curation reward. And they are 50-50. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And my other question would be, where does that hive come from? So if I curate 100%, and right now it's very low, it's a 0.003. Is that coming out of my wallet, or is that coming out of that central hive fund that's created?
Hive, like I said, hive is an inflationary currency. So I said 10% goes to DHF. 50%, I think it varies a little bit. It could be 50 or 58. It varies slightly. So about 50%, let's say, for argument's sake. I can get you the exact number, but about 50% goes to the reward pool. So whatever this 35 hive that we are talking about, it is coming from that reward pool.
Gotcha. And that is replenished by the block generation.
Yes, block generation.
Gotcha. This is a fascinating ecosystem here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you are in this ecosystem for however long you are, for 6 years. And, you know, for a lot of the Splinterland players, they are kind of heavily invested in the game. This is one thing I try to say this over and over again. You guys are on it. You can do whatever you want. You can do, you know, recipes. If you are a cook, you like to cook, you can do a recipe blog. You like to travel, you can do a travel blog. You like sports, there is sports blog. You like activity, you are a runner, there is ActFit, you know, there is running blogs. You can do whatever you want. Like, you know, BJ does podcast, right? This is a podcast as a blog, right?
Mhm.
So you can do whatever that you do. If you write it and put it out there, this is another small incremental earning that you can potentially have, and it costs you nothing because you already have an account. Your Splinterland account is your Hive account. You already have it. So, and you know, if you have ever wrote even a small response to, let's say, a SPS DAO proposal, you have used it. You have used your blogging engine, blogging platform, your blogging prowess.
Hive is a super cool ecosystem, man, and it surprises me that the social media, the tokenized social media aspect of Hive hasn't really caught wind with the or I guess I should say the general population hasn't really picked up on what's available through Hive. I'm wondering if I've got a whole mess of questions that have kind of popped up in my mind throughout this conversation. Let's start with kind of the Hive I guess reactions to this DHF proposal. It's the biggest in the history of the blockchain. That's been mentioned a number of times. It's a very substantial amount of funding that will be dripping out to Splinterlands and Splinterlands, the latest proposal put forth by Lord Butterfly and Clay from the SPS DAO is going to really have the DAO burrow into its Hive ecosystem a little bit further. And I suspect that we will start to see a little bit more of an uptick from the Splinterlands community leaning into Hive. I think this has forced people to kind of open their eyes, just like Jimmy, asking these sorts of questions, trying to figure out what's available and what can I actually accomplish with Hive. And I don't think most people understand that, you know, there's a lot of folks that do battle posts and brawl recaps and tournament updates and stuff like that. But like you said, AZ, there's a shit ton of communities, whether you're a photographer or a chef or a traveler, whatever it is, there's a place for you on Hive. So I suspect that we'll start to see a little bit of an uptick in player usage of Hive outside of Splinterlands. But what I'm curious about is, in response to this DHF proposal, has there been some conversation? You know, there was a lot of conversation kind of immediately in response to the initial DHF proposal from Yaba around, you know, the two communities kind of being divided and you know, maybe we could do a better job as Splinterlands supporting Hive, and Hive could do a better job as Hivers supporting Splinterlands. It's all water under the bridge now, but I'm sure that it starts to churn up some questions of, you know, maybe there's some truth to some of this stuff. So I'm curious, are we going to start to see Hive trying to reach out to the general population a little bit further and try and get some traction with places like, you know, the blogger communities on Twitter or, you know, folks on Reddit? How do we grow that side of Hive is kind of my underlying question there.
So I am going to flip the question back at you because, you know, when you started, I always said one thing. that what you guys are doing are community service. So the responsibility is on us. Responsibility is on you. So what I will ask you back, you do this podcast, right? Tell me, I mean, I just checked your wallet, your People's Guild wallet, and I saw there is $800 in that wallet, and it was zero at one time, or near zero at one time. So you tell us how did it get to from zero to $800? You tell us.
Consistency. For the first, I would say for the first 7, 8, 9 months of us posting on Peak D on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, our average curation payout was probably under 10 Hive. I would routinely sign up for the Splinterlands social media contest and tick the boxes in order to qualify for that and receive some payment that way. But it was a very slow grind. But I could see, at that point, I want to say Hive was somewhere north of 30 cents. And each week I would see, a pretty substantial leap in the value of the account that we were building. Things started to take off. I think it was actually, well, I don't think, I know for a fact it was after we hosted you for the first time last summer, AZ, that you made a promise and called yourself out for not supporting us previously, and things have been very different since then.
Yes.
We don't really go unnoticed on Hive, at least since then. But yeah, it's just been a snowball, very gradually moving downhill, and obviously as things have gotten further down the track, our account value has continued to grow, and I've learned, you and I have had a number of private conversations around the inner workings of Hive, and which accounts should I be looking out for, which accounts should I be delegating to, where should I establish my proxy votes, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, in a nutshell, it was slow and steady consistency.
Right. So if I can summarize to anybody, any newcomer, or not even newcomer, Jimmy is no newcomer. Jimmy is veteran as I am, or any other Splinterland player. So the first thing you said is very important: consistency. That's the number one thing. So what I recommend people, get into a routine. If you want to post on Hive, whatever that is, it doesn't have to be podcast. You do podcast. That's why we are talking about podcast. We are doing a podcast, right? It can be anything. And I will tell you, some of the very popular things on Hive are actually will actually surprise you. And let's get to that. But the first thing is consistency. So get to a routine. Let's say someone like me, I can only write during our work week. I can only write in the weekends. So for me, it's a 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So one of those days I will write. I typically do not write more than one time a week. Now that is not very frequent, but it is consistent. You do a podcast once a week, that is consistent, right? Because it's a longer format. It takes a lot of effort to do it. Somebody can do it, maybe twice a week, but consistent, right? You can also do it, the only thing I'm going to say, never try and post more than one time a day. There are very limited few people who can do that and keep quality and don't get burnout, because you do not want to get burnout, right? That is one of the most important thing. You do not want to get burnout. So if you do like one post in 2 days, that's a good start, or one post in 3 days, that's a good start, and do it consistently. That's number one. Number two is networking, right? one of the things you said, BJ, early on, it was a grind. And I have said this to so many people. I mean, even very recently, I was talking to guy with the Lama Kron tattoo, Captain Dingus, that's his hive handle. Jimmy, you know him quite well. So he was asking me like what to do, how to be, how to reach out to people and know people. You should not say, how do I get vote? I mean, I know that's what you are trying to do, but we don't say that. At Hive, people don't like that. If you ask for vote, that's a big no-no, right? It's called vote begging. Instead, what you like to do, you get to know people. If I know Jimmy personally, and if Jimmy writes something that I like, I will vote Jimmy automatically, right? That's the way it goes. That's networking. So there you go, networking. There is a good example of networking.
Yeah. And I like what you said. Everyone should vote Jimmy. That should be a thing.
Yeah, it should be a thing.
That should
be a thing. So, and so that's the second part. Once you network, and it starts small and then it keeps on building. And the third thing that you did not mention, and I'm going to add to it, is don't just write your content. Engage with other people's content. And how do you do that? You just go there and comment. Okay. And now I started to say something, but I said I'm going to say that when the time comes. And this is it. One of the most popular things on Hive, some of the most prolific and popular writers at Hive, they just write about their daily life. And it's pretty mundane. Don't think that, this is a daily life of Leonardo da Vinci. It's nothing like that. It is daily life of a suburban person living somewhere in an urban setting, daily life of a, ranch person, ranch guy, a guy doing, handiwork all around. These are some of the most popular, consistent topics on Hive. Gets consistent support. So the reason I said that, most commonly people think, oh, what am I going to talk about my daily life? My daily life is mundane. And if BJ says that, I'm going to say it back, dude, you are living in Taiwan, right? You are living in Taiwan. Anything in Taiwan, in Taipei, would be amazing for me. I have never been to Taiwan. I have never seen Taipei. I mean, if you just describe your street, like your walk to your bus stop or your bicycle ride to your work. However, I don't know how you go to work, PJ. You can tell me. That is amazing content.
Jetpack.
You will be so surprised how many people will like it. So there you have it.
I love that. No, I love this, man, because this is the type of thing, what is mundane to us. I mean, this is basically a living record of history right now. I mean, think about exactly what an archaeologist now would give for 1,000 daily accounts of life in any given ancient civilization 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. And we're actually right now making a living record of that and putting it on the blockchain.
Right. And it doesn't need to be structured. It can be one picture from your phone camera. It doesn't need to be structured. Look at my writing. My writing is completely unstructured. I mean, I just write whatever I feel like writing. But, I'm just saying, if you describe one day, not even one day, if you describe 1 hour of your day, like going to work and coming back from work to your apartment, that content is fabulous content because that is completely unique to you and it's completely unknown to us. We are completely clueless. It's fresh. It's perfect. I would love to read it.
Well, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, Azircon. I think a lot of folks have it caught up in their mind that they need to have some big fancy post to break into blogging. But at the end of the day, it's a blog, right? It should be looked at as a journal. It's not,
Yes.
to your earlier point, it's not the ideal micro blogging platform, something like Twitter.
Right.
But I find it a little bit more akin to maybe Reddit, where you're not the everyday all day posting, but a general recap. Like something that jumps to my mind, Jimmy, would be your show interactions, man. Bring that shit to Hive, dude. That would be and you could just point somebody to your blog to take a look at who's using Fat Jimmy's and where in the world are Fat Jimmy's going to.
It's not a bad
really
idea.
Cool use case. Yeah.
And Jimmy, for someone like you, your interactions are so unique, so foreign to some of us. Like we will never be able to touch it. That is like gold. It's like way out there. We will never, it's untouchables, right? And something's untouchable is like, it's priceless, right? So that's there you go. That's the point.
I like that idea. Might have to start doing that there.
Yeah.
I love
and
it.
how you build it, how you build your things, Well, there may be some,
there's some secrets you don't want to tell
some
people.
secrets to it. You don't have to.
The secret sauce. Reveal the secret sauce, Jimmy.
You don't have to reveal the secret.
I've made
there are
promises
many
that
ways
I
to
can't.
do it.
I can't reveal some secrets.
Right.
Some
but you don't
learned
have
via
to do
promise.
that, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. And it has nothing to do with, sound system. It can be your daily life. It can be a trip to grocery store. It can be as simple as that. You'll be surprised how foreign it is to somebody sitting in Nigeria. How foreign that is. And
well, you've given me some inspiration too. I'm a hobby photographer, and I just dusted off my old camera and lenses for this trip in Australia, and I'm feeling a little bit of inspiration to fire up the old Bjangles Peak D and put something together. Yeah.
Real film?
No, I wish, man. That's something I would love to learn is proper film processing and
man, I'm seeing some of
that sort of stuff.
I got some musician friends. They were we had a festival thing this weekend Alesh just put on, and there was I think two of the guys were, and I've seen them doing it now. They carry around some old cameras, with actual film, and they take the time to actually, take pictures. One dude had the square one with the two lenses, and you look down into it.
Like real old school.
Not like super old, but like
medium format.
Yeah, like what, 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s. You'd see it, and you'd wear it around your neck.
Yeah.
And you would just, it's about
the box camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So not like from like the turn of the century, but 50s, 60s type stuff. And it looks great. And the pictures are fantastic.
All right. Well, hopefully those that hear this podcast feel a little bit of inspiration when we start seeing some more activity on the, kind of the personal lives of some of the folks out there.
And I am here to help. I am available. I'm here to help. If you need any support, anything that if you need, I mean, I'm ready to help.
Sweet.
That's awesome.
Well, I know from personal experience, Azircon, you're a habitual hiver. You're always scouring for good new blogs and on the lookout for valuable posts, and obviously valuable is subjective, and obviously you've just kind of spelled out what does your subjectivity look and sound like. So my suggestion is take Azircon up on it. Hopefully your tags are through the roof in the coming days and weeks, Azircon, with folks saying, "Hey, look at my post."
Yeah. So the other thing that you got to think about, and like, I do not have infinite power, right? So my upvote, although it is high compared to a lot of other people, for each upvote you provide, your power drops. So it's like the battery, right? Or your health as you are doing battling, right? Your health drops with each hit. So my upvote power drops, right? And if I keep on upvoting a lot of people, very quickly it goes to 80%. And once it falls below 80%, it's just exponential drop, okay? And then it takes 24 hours to recharge, just like in any game, right? You know, your health, if you don't do activity, your health replenishes. So the reason I said that, like, think about it. Okay, I can, let's say, support 10 people, give or take, let's say, okay, 10 people. Usually that almost never happens. All my 6 years in Hive, never been that 10 people came to me all at the same time. So, but think about it. If there is 100 people that comes to me, which is great news, then I won't be able to provide, right? I won't be able to provide the support. So the way to mitigate that is we all need to grow our hive power by a little bit, right? And there comes the consistency, right? As you put together your articles, your blog consistently out, your hive power will slowly increase. You can also go to Hive Engine or Tribal Deck. You know, you buy SPS, you buy DEC. Sometime you can do the opposite. You can maybe sell some SPS, small amount of SPS, and buy 100 Hive. You know, 100 Hive. It doesn't have to go always at the same. Like I do that all the time. I swap between SPS and Hive, DEC and Hive all the time.
And does Hive power? Because I got familiar with that when I had to, had a few accounts and had to, for gas and stuff like that. We'll
right,
call it gas,
RC. It's called RC these days.
Right, and you had to take Hive and convert it into Hive power.
Right.
Does any of that happen automatically? Or
it's all automatic. It's just like your SPS, staked SPS. So you had SPS, you stake it.
Right.
When you staked it, it becomes your stake XPS, and that gives you certain privileges within the game, right?
Sure.
It gives you voting power. It gives you, a threshold of earning and all of that. Same thing with Hive. You have liquid Hive. As you power up the Hive, it becomes staked Hive.
Gotcha.
And staked Hive gives you voting power.
That's just my question. That's always meant, like, I always have to make the conscious decision and press a button to convert Hive to Hive power. It's never like an automatic process behind the scenes.
Like there is an automatic process. Like if you write a post and if you get rewarded, that reward automatically goes as Hive power.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I like that.
And also your curation also automatically goes as Hive power. You can power down, you can get it back.
Sure.
But it automatically goes as Hive power. That's the default setting anyway.
That's pretty cool. Now, it seems like for Hive, and this is almost what Jangles was talking about a little bit ago, like, it seems like it would be such an incredible platform that could be immensely popular, like when you're talking about on the level of like a Twitter or a Facebook or something, especially because of the opportunity it brings to people all over the world. Is that being like, who promotes Hive? Does Hive get promoted? Is Hive pushed out?
Yeah, this is the problem with decentralization, right? Hive is truly decentralized. There is no CEO of Hive, right? So at Splinterland, we are just starting with decentralization, right? And we are struggling and we are seeing how difficult it is to manage this SPS DAO thing, right? There are so many. We are all in it, in the same boat. We all want success of this game, but we tend to fight with each other quite a bit because we all have slightly different opinion, and from each person to the next person may be slight, but as you go to the fifth or sixth person, it could be completely opposite. And then it becomes very personal. And then, if they are opposing force trying to move same direction, it kind of cancels each other and we don't go anywhere.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, that whole thing. It was
Right.
Mr. Dwayne, Infidel 1258. I've been watching a lot of his stuff recently. One of his videos, he said if this game ever fails, he would say his guess was it would be because of the infighting from DAO proposals. Is what divides it so greatly sometimes.
Because Dave McCoy said that many times, like a lot of the proposals are, it should not happen, but it is divisive because people take it personally, right?
Yeah, or such strong opinions saying like, no, that can't work. There's no way this will work. My way works, or this way works, and it's
and then comes the stake. Since this is stake weighted, not all votes are counted equal. Right. Some people have higher stake compared to someone else, and people with higher stake get a higher weightage. It's a meritocracy, right? And a lot of people find it very difficult to digest and very difficult to live with. So, if the only solution to this, if you can detach the person from the action.
Yeah.
Right. And don't take things personally.
Yeah. I actually like the way they did that last series of surveys that Clay put out on behalf of Matt. I thought that was great because it showed both the stake weight and the individual vote weight. I thought that was a great way to, because it was just Matt testing the water. What's the community think of this? What's that? And it's like, all right, here it is right in front of everybody. Here's what the stake weight thinks. Here's what the individual community members think.
Yeah.
It was a nice development, in my opinion.
Yeah. So getting back to the original question by BJ, like, why Hive is not that widespread. What we are considering Splinterland marketing, who is doing Hive's marketing? It's difficult in a decentralized system. There have been some marketing done by multiple individuals, multiple groups, multiple projects. We go to conferences. We sponsor a rally car. We are quite invasive, quite popular in some of the developing countries, like in Venezuela, where currency is a big issue. In West Africa, like Ghana.
That's huge. That's some of the most, I think, some of the best stuff right there. If you can get in with people where it becomes an actual functional currency, and they see they could earn this currency through things through blogging, that's.
And if you actually type in Hive Venezuela in Google, you'll see a lot of things. But the problem with these grassroots level work is these two places that I have just mentioned, they're struggling financially, right? Therefore, it is very difficult to get a net output in terms of money from those places. It's quite difficult. So it is getting a lot of viewership. It is getting a lot of people, a lot compared to other areas. But there is not enough funding coming into the ecosystem because it's just impossible for those people.
Well, just to clarify there, AZ, that a lot of those folks are leveraging Hive as a means of income.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And therefore, a lot of it is net negative for Hive in those areas. So what we are trying to propose as an alternative, and again, this is sort of, a collective idea. And, I'm not taking responsibility of this particular idea. It is not my idea. It's just a collective idea. People in Splinterland, they actually have money invested in the game, right? So there is a there are a lot of people with significant investment in the game. So there is upper class, middle class, lower class. Basically, if you look at our stake profile, staked SPS profile, or you can look at the cart CP, doesn't matter which metric you look at, you'll see a beautiful log normal distribution, just like society, right? And one of the thought process that I am trying to engage people in, what if these people are investing in this ecosystem, which is Splinterland? Why not invest a little bit in this other ecosystem as well and get something back? So develop some kind of a synergy between the two systems and essentially have a mutual growth together. And I'm going to say, BJ, you are a classic example of that. You as a person, as what you do, is a classic example of that. You make podcast about Splinterland, you put that podcast in Hive, you have grown your account from 0 to a respectable number, and you have grown your game at the same time. You know more people, you have networked, you are one of the very well-known figures now within the community. So this has grown from both directions. Why can't we have more people like you?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one there, Jimmy.
Hey, that's my
I mean,
simple idea.
Well, I think it's gonna take conversations like this, Azircon, to move the needle for folks. I think for a long time, the only interaction that folks had with Hive and awareness that folks had with Hive was through the social media campaign. This has, I think, forced a lot of people's hands to take a little bit of a deeper look under the hood into what's happening on Hive. And we've seen guys like DJ Dahota, who's really taken to in Leo. Deuce is another one that has really stepped up his Hive activity, his peak D posts. I've seen guys like Aftersound do the same thing.
Aftersound, I was going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Aftersounds, look up Aftersounds Hive account. It's decent. He does a lot of posting on YouTube, like three posts a day, video post on YouTube. And I have a conversation with Aftersound, and that much frequency is not good for Hive. So he now actually post one video a day or two on Hive, and rest he posts on YouTube. And I'm looking up his account, and he moved some Hive out, fairly, I wouldn't say frequently, but somewhat. And he has $370 in his account. Okay. So
yeah, I'm looking
there
at his
you have
posts
it.
right now. He'll have 27 Hive, 34, 69 Hive.
Yeah.
It's 24, 7.8,
So
12. Yeah.
Yeah, his latest post, how to make passive income in Splinterland, that is posted yesterday, and I have voted it. It
Yeah.
has 12 Hive payout.
Yeah.
On that
12.18.
potential payout. Yeah.
I'm going to upvote that right now. Now, because I
There you
just
go.
upvoted yours a few minutes ago or an hour ago now, and now that I upvote his, is my 100% vote the same? Or is
No,
it
it's slightly less. It's
Okay.
just a small amount less.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give him a big old like there.
Yeah, but more than the vote, it would help even more, Jimmy, if you just drop a note.
Drop a
That
comment.
came here at you, just drop a comment. That actually goes a much longer way compared to just a vote. It's the personal touch. When you vote, there is a lot of the vote in Hive is automated. There is very little personal touch. Very few people vote manually. Okay? A lot of the vote is automated. But when you comment, that's a comment from Jimmy. So that gives you a boost. And that goes a long way. And it's in here though, right? It's always in your head because you are looking for that consistency. You are looking for that support. You want a sounding board. You want it to bounce back. That's why when you tweet, if somebody responds to your tweet, you respond back, right? It's the same principle. And, remember, BJ, a couple of weeks ago, PJ's episode on politics? If you tweet on something that you don't like, if you somehow in your Facebook account, if you get something that you don't like, you're definitely going to respond to it.
Yeah, negative.
Because that's how the psychology works. Psychology of social network works. So your mind is always looking for that feedback loop. So that's why you comment. So comment helps, goes a long way. Usually goes a very long way.
Well, we're about I guess about 8 or 9 days off from the proposal having gone through the full cycle. It's getting ready to move to official voting. I fully expect it to pass at this point, unless there's a drastic shift in sentiment, which I don't expect. And hopefully on the heels of that, we see a lot of these things come to fruition with, increased engagement from the community, a little bit more kind of personal blogging, because that's going to be the sort of stuff that really drives adoption from the wider general population.
And I hope this negative sentiment that kind of went around both communities, I'm not going to say just Splinterland community or Hive community. To me, they're all the same. It's just two slightly different group of people with some overlap, right? I am one of the overlap, right? I am equally vested in both community, both financially and also mentally.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to mention that, like, the symbiotic relationship that it seems, because you had mentioned before, the Hive being decentralized makes it very hard to Hive to even promote itself, basically.
Yes,
I see some of these projects in third world countries where they like build a well, and then you put the Hive logo on there and a little plaque saying this is from Hive. So that's promotion in itself, doing good things. But Splinterlands adding the powered by Hive logo to the game almost becomes double self-promotion in a way. Like that's almost Hive promoting Splinterlands, even though Splinterlands is doing it, because it's such, any of the developers we've talked to, including like Cryptomancer and Matt and all these guys on Hive and other people who work with it, and the people who do the third-party systems and the people who do other games, they say it is such an ideal blockchain for gaming. And I mean, just the fact that there are billions of transactions through Splinterlands on this blockchain with no gas fees, microtransactions that go through it, it almost doesn't make sense to me that this isn't the gaming chain that everyone who's doing gaming is building on.
Yeah. And the important thing that we need to understand that it is for both of our benefit.
Yes, that's the point.
It is for mutual benefit. We must promote each other, right? Because no one else is going to do it for us for free.
Right.
Only we can do it for each other for free, right? because everyone else we're going to ask for money to promote.
No, and
Our promotion is free.
Yeah,
right.
And that's what
so
it's
right
all
now,
about.
what you are doing, what I am doing, we are promoting. We are promoting one side of our body to the other side of our body. We are the same community, but apparently we have been unknown to each other. We were neighbors. We were literally one on top of each other, but we are unknown to each other. It reminds me, in Papua New Guinea, and BJ, that might, you are very close to that part of the world. In Papua New Guinea, there were some tribes, even like 20 years ago, they would live in two parallel canyons, and their languages, their culture, a lot of the things are completely different. They were not aware of each other's existence in Papua New Guinea because, the places were so remote and so inaccessible that they haven't made contact. That's an extreme case. But, even I would say I am originally from India, and, the general location of the Himalayan mountain chain, and right on the other side is China. Chinese culture and our culture, the Indian culture, is so drastically different. And there is so limited exchanges that happen over centuries. And both are this very old civilization, but they haven't shared almost anything. There are like 3 or 4 exchanges over the last 2000 years before the modern times. I mean, if you look back in the history. So the cultures developed completely independent of each other. So that's why we were geographically, as a crow flies, we are so close, yet we were so far. These are the two things that comes to my mind when I sometimes think about Hive and Splinterlands interaction.
Yeah, it almost seems that the only way to do it is through example, by the Hive, Splinterland saying, hey, powered by Hive, because we want other games to notice that and to come and say, wow, look at this working use case of this game and what it can do on this blockchain with no gas fees. Holy shit, that's amazing. But at the same time, how do we is it possible? I mean, if I was Hive, it's decentralized, so I'm not, no one is Hive. But how can you Hive?
And you are.
Well, yeah, I guess we all are from that point of view.
Are.
But how do we get Hive almost to scream from the rooftops? Look at what's possible on our blockchain, with the blogging, with the game. How can that be promoted? I guess I answered the question. It's all through us promoting it. It's community
all
promotion.
through us.
Yeah.
It's all through us. Look at me, basically right now, if I live somewhere in the rural United States, my personal Hive and Splinterland investment is large enough that I can live. I can live my life. So that's a testament to itself. And I'm not alone. You talk to Crypto Eater. He lives in Australia. This is his life. This is his business. This is all he does. I think, BJ, I don't know how much of the personal story he shared. I think he shared quite a bit. He talks about his mom, and, he's like 20 years younger than I am. And, basically paid off all the house and, got mom out of the job, retirement taken care of. All of that is just of the Splinterland.
If I remember correctly from previous episodes, it was a particular DEC arbitrage moment that kind of was the turning point for him.
Yeah.
The life-changing
moment. That's a very big example. And the good news is there are big examples like him, and there are little examples like many others I know. And there are everything in the between. So, and this is at the bottom of the bear, right? We are definitely not in a bull market in the game.
Oh, no,
sure,
not even close.
right?
No, it hasn't
Not
started
even
yet.
close, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to comment that's kind of the thread that is tying all of this stuff together for me. Is it feels like we're in a very perfect storm at the moment, given all the things that you know we've been seeing coming into the game over the course of the last 8 months, 9 months. You know, kind of beginning with Rebellion. You could go back and argue a little bit further to Matt kind of, you know, taking over the captain of the ship sort of thing. But we've got the validators coming. We've got SPS jumping 20, 25, 30% in the last 10 days. We've got this Hive proposal happening. We're gearing up for, you know, what's hopefully going to be a pretty volatile, positively volatile fourth quarter with all things crypto. And it feels like Splinterlands is finally primed to move into, I don't know if it's ever going to be mainstream, but it's primed to move into a bit more of a limelight than it has been in the past. And I have to think, you know, like we were talking about, it's going to be a rising tide is going to raise all boats, but that's well outside of Splinterlands at this point. That is going to include Hive. You know, the best way to get eyes onto Hive is a wildly successful project on the blockchain. And then things naturally are going to, oh wow, there's a blogging platform. Oh wow, there's a whole bunch of other games. Oh wow, there's a physical Actifit. You know, there's all these little communities that I get to partake in as a part of being involved in Hive. So do you guys kind of get the sense that perfect storm is here, and you know the stars have somewhat aligned for all of these things to kind of be come into fruition at this?
Yeah, and you know,
this
I
moment?
normally don't, I don't bullshit, as you know. So I will tell you two examples. Well, one is the proposal passing that we have talked about already. While you are in Tasmania, Brave Tofu bought 10 million Hive and powered up, right? I don't know if you've noticed it or not. Today, just before I was preparing for this podcast, I bought 1 million SPS.
Oh,
I bought 1 million SPS and I powered up. I staked it, and I'll be buying more SPS.
That was today.
Because that was today.
I had a notice a few hours before the show about SPS going up. I wonder if that was the incident
that is me.
that happened.
That is me.
There was a crypto.com notification too. It was like SPS is up.
Yeah, that was me. That was me, and it's public knowledge. So I am publicly telling people I will be in the market to buy more SPS.
I mean, Azircon, I think it's as recent as our last episode with you, which, you know, it was you, Dave, Hep, and I. Maybe it was the episode prior. I don't recall exactly which one, but we were talking about the power of microcaps and small cap cryptos, and
exactly,
you know, Hive sitting around 18 cents. Every HBD that I've been getting, I've been immediately putting on swap for Hive. I don't suspect Hive is going to stay sub 20 cents, sub 30, sub 40 cents for much longer. And the same is true with SPS.
If we all buy, it will not.
Yeah.
If we all buy, it will not. You know, SPS hit the bottom, what, 0.042, right? That was the bottom. And then, you know, now it is 70, right? Now it is 70. So yeah, pretty soon it is going to be 1 cent. I think probably in a day or two should be 1 cent. And then there we go. So don't tell me that I haven't told you. So and whoever else who is listening. So, you know, I mean, I do not secretly buy things. You know, I'm telling you that I have bought things and I will buy more things.
Yeah.
So
0.00742 on crypto.com as we speak, up a whole pen up from 0.006
yeah,
in a day, one day.
yeah.
That's a 2x and damn near a 2x in the last month, isn't
From
it?
the bottom. Yeah,
Yeah.
from the
Mhm.
bottom is nearly 2x, yes.
Well, we got a long road ahead, but like you say, I do feel like we're in a perfect storm. We've seen a lot of the really cheap, very valuable wild cards get plucked off the market one by one, and
Yes.
we're
I got
starting to
some.
see, yeah, you and me both, man. I
Yeah.
picked up a number of cards that I never thought I would be an owner of, and here we are. I've got a Yodin, a Llama, and Kitty is the last one on the checklist for me. We'll see if I can
Did you
swing
grab
that
it
one,
yet?
but no, not yet, not yet.
Better hurry up,
It'll
Jim.
happen.
Well, once
It'll
we got the
happen.
announcement of the promo cards coming, as soon as I think 2 weeks from now.
Don't forget DC. Don't forget DC.
Yep,
Gotta
DC's
have
back
some
above
DC.
70% too.
There you
Yeah.
go. Because
Yeah.
you will need it. You will need it. You are getting a 30% discount right now. You are
Yeah.
not going to get 30% discount.
No, and I got to spend a lot. I was looking at what I need to unlock Soulbounds. I need a lot more DEC than I have.
Remember, Soulbound, you can also unlock by DECB if you still have them. I don't.
I don't, yeah.
And also by credit. You can unlock Soulbound by credit.
How
If
do you
you
do
have,
that? You buy credit.
it's just a tab. Yeah,
Yeah, you
just
just
buy
drop
credit
down.
using, just buy credit and then in drop down and DC you'll find credit.
Gotcha.
If you
My
have drive,
my KYC account is a different account, so I would always use that to buy credits, buy cards,
yes,
and send them to my main. So I would have to
exactly.
KYC to do that, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
PayPal, credit card, whatever.
And then
Just a
but
little
then you can
bit.
do it. You can then
Yes,
unlock a Soulbound card
unlock
with
using
credits.
credit because I have no DC, I have no DCB. I have to buy credit. I buy credit and do it.
Ah, interesting. Okay. I might
Yeah.
have to
There you go. There is another tip.
yeah, might
Yeah.
have to do that.
see the wheels spinning over there, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
we've got a
yes.
lot of stuff coming up. I personally, I was a little bit frustrated that we got the announcement that there was a mini set coming. I'm curious what you guys think, but my thinking was we had just passed the proposal for the DAO to support all of the promotional cards over the next 6 months, beginning in September, which is going to take us through, I believe, February, if my quick math checks out. 2 cards a month, and leading up to all that time, we had always been told no mini set, no mini set, no mini set. And I think most folks started to look at these promotional cards as
the
the alternative to the mini
Yeah.
set, and then we get and it was mentioned so casually by Yaba on the town hall. There was no detail, there was no flash, there was no artwork supporting it. It was just, oh yeah, we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming. It's time to turn the revenue engines back on. We've got promotional cards, we got a potential mini set coming, we've got yada yada. And that was kind of the beginning and the end of that mention. So I'm curious, what is y'all's take on mini set? Is it the right time? Is it?
I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
basically, it's a revenue.
Yeah.
Right. It's a revenue for the team, right? The DAO proposal Matt could not count on, right? It was going so many different ways. So it's a revenue stream. So we'll see how it goes and what the sequence it will arrive.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on how it times with the main set release too, because I don't know how long they want to wait between main sets. We're 8 months, so we're 4 months out for a year. Rebellion was released early December, and we're only 4 months out from that. So I can't imagine they're going to drop a main set next or mini set next month, and then another main set 3 months after that. that wouldn't
Yeah,
work.
so it's a yearly cycle, right, between the main sets. That's what,
Right, which means the
generally
next
yearly
one will be
cycle.
December. Maybe they're going to go to 18 months or something. Because I mean, Chaos Legion was
Yeah,
3 years,
I don't know.
or 2 or 3 years on Chaos.
Yes, yeah.
No, I think
Yeah, so,
Matt
I
had
don't
kind of
know.
clarified his ideal cycle was something like 15 months and then a 3-month break, I
Mhm.
believe. So I think
Okay,
the
but that makes
speculation
sense.
is right around summertime next year. So I think we still got about a year of Chaos Legion being in modern.
Yeah.
What's the
And this is
timer
some
on Rebellion? Because we know that's set, right? There's like a date that, or there's a whole schedule for Rebellion, right? So there's
Yeah,
when
of
does
course.
that when does that actually end?
the sale, you mean?
Yeah.
We can open up and take a look. Just have to open up the game that will tell us. So I am going to say the Grimbardun Smith and Mantaroth, right? That's the essentially the start of a rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
if I
That's the pre-sale.
if I click on that, pre-sale.
It should be less than 4 months. It should be
Yeah.
closer to 3, I would guess.
Yeah, October 9, 2023.
October 9.
October 9 is the announcement
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's
announcement.
December
So,
5th, I think, was the
yeah.
launch date.
Yes.
I
So
think
it's December. It's December that Mantaroth and Grimbardun Smith. So that's the pre-sale. So
Yeah, and we've got two more airdrops.
yeah.
The second to last just started yesterday, and they're both 30 days each. So 59 days from now, maybe.
Yeah. So
Well,
yeah, get your things in order, get DC and get ready for the ride. I think it's looking good. When Vaktis is hopeful, you'll see Vaktis in the chat every day. And when you see Vaktis in the chat every day saying positive things, there are things that is happening. When Brave Tofu buy 10 million SPS, yeah, there is things happening. Because, we are the one who control the game, right? It's our game. If we buy, the price will go up. It's as simple as that. I mean, I have always told BJ that we just need 100 medium level investment. The market, if you look at the card market, it's so thin. It's right now, the card market is so thin.
Oh yeah, I've been looking. Yeah.
If you put who want to build a max deck of meta card, you cannot build it. You cannot have 20 max that you can build from the existing market right now. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So
yeah, especially if you
that
go
should
back
tell you
a
something.
little bit. Yeah, Rift Watchers is thin. Untamed is super thin. It's
yeah, it's very, very thin.
Yeah, and I always thought more, 1,000, 1,000 to 5,000 small players who put in $100 changes everything too.
Yeah.
And that's not
Yeah,
unrealistic.
whichever way you slice the
Yeah.
pie, right?
Yeah.
It's your way.
And both of those
So
numbers are incredibly realistic.
yeah, it's very, very realistic. So, I'm just looking at the clock, and I think I am going to wrap in a few minutes. So
Yeah, we're creeping up
what do
on
you guys
2 hours.
think? Yeah,
I
it's pushing.
2 hours just evaporated here, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Well, Azircon, tell us. I know you don't do crystal balls. You don't make predictions.
No, I don't.
So you've already got one prediction in the bag. SPS surpassing Ascent in the next few days. That would be a
Yeah, that's
tremendous green
because
candle.
that will
Yeah.
be just my buy. That will be just my buy. Yeah.
So are you
That's not a
planning
prediction.
to?
I am going to buy it from here to 10.
Yeah.
So you're doing that. That's what you're doing. You're buying more. You're bullish
I'm
right
buying
now, and
more.
you're buying more.
Yeah, I'm buying more. I will push the price. That's my goal. I'm publicly saying that. That's what I'm going to do.
Beautiful.
So that's not a prediction. It's a fact.
How do you know how much it would take for of you buying to push it to that price?
10K, 15K.
Yeah, how much SPS does that translate to?
I would say somewhere between 2 to 5 million.
That's not that much. I mean, that's a lot, but that's not that much.
Not that much. Not
God.
that much at all.
It's more than I got, but it's not that much in the
Not
big
that much
picture
at
of it.
all.
Yeah.
I mean, people have made bigger buys than that in recent times.
Mm-hmm.
I am just doing it differently compared to other people. That's
Yeah.
all.
10K right now is about almost 1.4 million SPS.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, we have seen to your point, Azircon, we have seen a number of new folks trickle into the shard. What is it? Shard holders, shard collectors.
Yes. Yes.
Myself included. I just recently,
Yes.
you know, I'm very proud to be nearing in on 300K at this point, and I'm just a small potato compared to you big fish. But you know, if we get a handful of folks,
this is cheap. This is cheap.
yeah,
Hit it.
yeah.
This is
I mean,
cheap.
like you said, man, we don't need a big number of folks to come in and make the investment that I have in SPS.
Exactly.
To make, you know, very significant waves across the markets for SPS.
Exactly. And absolutely. And the market's incredibly thin. So, you know, that this is a fact, and it is happening. So that's now, can we sustain at that level? That is not, I do not do prediction, but you know, my buy will take you there. Your buy, my buy, and as we will buy, more people will buy. You know, Vaktis will buy, Tofu will buy more. So, you know,
Well,
it'll get there.
Like we said, perfect storm. It feels like stars are aligning here. You know, it just happens to coincide with all the stuff that's happening it feels like we are primed for making some big splashes. I think a lot of folks are feeling more bullish than they have in a really long time. We've started to see players that previously, quote unquote, exited the ecosystem coming back and firing up their accounts and, you know, perhaps doubling down. And, you know, there is still trickles of salt here and there, but for the most part, I think most folks are pretty excited about what's coming. So kudos to Matt and Co for keeping their heads down and nose to the grindstone and pushing through and shaking off the bullshit and continuing to deliver on the vision. And yeah,
thank
exciting
you to
stuff.
the team. Thank you to the team. Thank you to the community. Thank you to you guys. I mean, you know, you are doing community service. Keep on doing. Wrap this episode up. Publish it as soon as you can. That's the goal.
Let's get your famous line here, Azircon, to take us out of here, dude.
Yeah, we're done here.
Put a bow on that shit. All right. Hell yeah. Any final words from you, Jimmy?
No, but I think that was it, man. We're done here.
We're done here. Beautiful. I love it. All right, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Go check out Hive. Go get engaged with Peak D, with in.leo. Go look around. There's definitely a community out there for you. Let's push this baby forward and upwards and onwards and upwards, however you like it. Appreciate you guys tuning in. You have been listening to
The People's Guild.